Last day of preparations for the Hamilton Tiger Cats before they take on the Toronto Argonauts in Sunday's East Final. I'm here with the Spec Steve Milton. We'll start with the news, Steve. I think the biggest news of the day comes out of Toronto, where their middle linebacker Robert McCune, second in the league in tackles, is out for this game, injured. They'll replace him with Nathan Horton. The difference in size is remarkable. McCune's about 245, Horton's about 215. Can the Ticats take advantage of this?
First of all, when did Horton come over from hockey?
Yeah, no
to play this. The Ticats can take advantage of this in a number of ways. You have to think that it has to give them a little more confidence in their running game, which really has not been good other than from the quarterback position in recent weeks. And also on the crossing patterns. He's a real sticker on defense. That 30, 40 pounds difference will probably make a difference in the way the game is played. That said, you never quite know. You never know how guys are going to rise to the occasion. Also, it's a Chris Jones defense, and you know that there's a specificity to that, meaning he makes the defense around the guys, both he's not only he's playing, but who's on his team. So I would imagine there'll be some adjustments there, and I don't know what that is, whether it's a drop-off into what they call a 30, which is a three-man front, and then add some help on the linebacker by dropping the guy back off, or whether it's just you bring the blitz from different places. I don't really know what that'll be, but the loss of McCune has to hurt.
The Ticats, I think, are going to stay here. We know they're going to stay here overnight. They're going to stay in the Skydome Hotel. Kent Austin talked about the fact that I think they're treating this very much like a road game and going through their normal preparation that they would as if they were on the road.
Yeah, and I think that's wise. And I think the other thing in that, and maybe he didn't even know, this is going to be horrific. And this is a recommendation to everybody from Hamilton that's coming in. Come in early. Remember, tomorrow is the Santa Claus Parade.
There's a Raptor game
as
well.
There's a Raptor game in the immediate vicinity. So parking and basically traffic are going to be a problem. I don't think you want any distractions like that coming in. Plus, you're coming in early. It's an afternoon game. It's about probably the same distance as it is up to Guelph. So maybe they're getting out of their sort of rhythm on that one. But the players that you and I have talked to, including a couple that live in Toronto, are very, very happy about this. They seem to like it, and they're staying actually right behind us in the hotel here.
Ticket sales for this game now approaching around 40,000. It's going to be a great atmosphere. The one side of the 500 level is getting full. They're talking about opening up the other side. I'm not sure whether they're going to end up doing that or not, but certainly I think we're going to see a huge crowd and a strong Ticat presence.
Well, that's absolutely true. All kinds of people are coming in from Hamilton, and that's not just the 6 buses that Carol Rose has put together. It's just people, and a lot of people. Don't forget that we talk a lot about the Regina diaspora, but there's an awful lot of Ticat diaspora too, meaning people who are Ticat people or Hamilton people who live elsewhere, and there's a ton of them in Toronto. So a lot of people that live here are going to be coming to the game. I think it's just great for Southern Ontario at all kinds of levels. I think it's good for the high school ball here. I think it's good for the college ball here. It's definitely good for the CFL, and it's good for these two franchises. There's a real buzz around here, and I'm afraid to say this, but Rob Ford added to some of that buzz. I don't think anybody right now is unaware that the Toronto Argonauts are playing in a very big game tomorrow, and there's been a lot of times when the entire city's been unaware of them. Now nobody can claim that they don't know about this game.
Let's talk a little bit about the game, Steve. I think a lot of the focus has been on Ricky Ray and the fact that he's had an unbelievable completion percentage this year, 77%, 2 interceptions, and a lot of talk around sort of how do you stop Ricky Ray, to the point where talking to some Ticat defenders, they're sort of sick of talking about Ricky Ray, but it is a focus.
First thing, you have to stop the run game. You got to make sure that that's in no way an outlet for them, so that they've got to pass, and you know they're going to anyways. When you got a guy like Ricky Ray, you got to get some pressure on him. There's just no way around that, and you probably have to whack him a couple times early in the game, and still that isn't going to be enough. You've got to limit. And you had a very good statistic in your piece earlier this weekend that the Argos lead the league in YACs. YAC meaning yards after catch. You've got to make the tackle. That might be the best way to stop Ricky Ray, is make the tackle now. And on the three guys, I think that can really kill you on that, of course, are Owens. And I'm a great Andre Dury fan. I really believe in that guy, and of course Inman. They're all fantastic after the catch. You've got to eliminate any broken tackles. They're going to beat you once in a while, but you can't let them juke you. And you really, if you get a hand on them, got to come down. It's got to be a lot of wrapping in this game.
Yeah, a lot of sure tackling, I think, is a huge issue for this game. Simone Lawrence, Jamal Johnson, I think, sure tacklers, generally speaking. Courtney Stevens been good in that regard, but I think wrapping up those guys, I mean, Ricky Ray's pass yards per attempt is not that great, but his completion percentage is amazing. So I think that's definitely key. For the Ticats, I mean, we're going to talk about Henry Burris. I know he hates the good Hank, bad Hank thing, but at the same time, if he plays well in this game and does not turn the ball over,
they will win.
They'll win this game. I mean, that's
my feeling. And now I'm not saying if he doesn't play well that they won't, but part of Henry's arsenal, just like every quarterback, is how everybody else is. And boy, to me, you've got to establish Gable, and you've got to establish that running game early, and not just count on Dan Lefevre coming off the bench to get the running game going. You're a lot farther along now than when you're game planning for the conference semifinals and during there. This is a very fine football team here. We talked about there being no room for error against Montreal. It's double here against this team. This team kind of walks on air. They're the defending champions, and they're having a chance to show themselves as defending champions in front of 40,000 people.
Yeah, I think the big thing with the Ticats is that they've been, last season Henry had to play well for them to win. This year they've been able to get away with him not playing well. They've won 4 games with more turnovers than the opposition, but you're getting to the point in the season now where you're just not going to get away with that. They turned the ball over 4 times last week against Montreal. 3 of those turned into 0 points, and the defense has been phenomenal. They're first in the league in terms of the least amount of points allowed off turnovers, but against a good team, against Ricky Ray, if you give them opportunities with a short field, they are going to destroy you.
Right, that's absolutely true. And when you talk about short field, it also brings up the return game and the kicking game as well. I mean, there's no doubt that Swayze has a stronger leg than the Hamilton kickers, particularly on kickoff when you measure it against Luca Conji. Now, that means that the run back guys there's probably a 10 or 15 yard difference that you're starting with right away. You've got the field position. If it makes a big deal, then you've got to get some run backs. There's got to be a run back by Banks in here somewhere in this game, in my mind, for them, not necessarily to win, but to really sort of give field position, but also get you that play that you need. It's going to be a couple of big plays, whether they're defensive or offense, that probably ultimately, when you add everything up, are going to decide this game.
27 years since these two teams have played each other in the East Final. It's exciting. You can feel it now.
Well, in fact, I've got some, and I'm sure you've had the same thing, some grizzled reporters, some guys that have been around this league for a long time, coming up to me and said, I haven't been excited about a football game like this for a long, long time. And part of that's the matchup, but I think part of it's the atmosphere. A lot of people have waited a long time for the stadium to feel that way. And of course it did last year, but it was the Grey Cup. That's a whole different thing. This is all Southern Ontario. Nobody coming in from across Canada here to make it better. This is all dependent upon the football fans in Southern Ontario. And I think the response has been great. And one thing I'd like to see is a lot of high school teams here. I want to see this game, and you know how I feel about the league. You feel the same way. I want to see this game help this league. And that can happen if young players get enthused by it. If it's a great game, if the media covers it well, and covers it again on Monday and Tuesday, not just dies on Sunday.
Make sure that you check out the Scratching Post blog on Sunday morning. We'll have lots of updates from the Rogers Centre ahead of this game. Reporting for the Hamilton Spectator with Steve Milton, I'm Drew Edwards.